Okay, One Piece chapter 1000 is almost here, and I felt like it was appropriate to talk about the best moments in Wano. I was gonna just give you regular predictions. I was like, you know what? Let's talk about the best moments of Wano so far. So I went to Viz, right? And I went and I pulled up all the chapters and I reread the entirety of Wano in 1 hour. I'm lying. I didn't do that. However, I did compile a list. So I have what I think are the 10 best moments of Wano. And guys, these moments are based off of my experiences reading the chapter. And you know, I do live reactions. So these moments were amazing at the time they were being read. And again, with the chat flowing and everybody watching.
I was the one who gave you your mythical type, fish.
These moments definitely were the best in my opinion. So guys, without further ado, we'll talk about the 10 best moments. Then I'll give you some quick predictions for chapter 1000. No spoilers. Please do not drop spoilers down below and don't try to disguise them as predictions, right? Because some of you think you're slick. You put, oh, here are my predictions after you read the spoilers. Bums, stop doing that. Bums, we know, we can tell. But if you are here for the first time and you like One Piece content, subscribe because there's gonna be a lot more where this came from and you will not be disappointed by this list. Anyway, here we are, the 10 best moments of Wano so far. So number 10, I have Luffy versus Kaido, and that was in chapter 923, and that's when Luffy happened upon Kaido after Kaido completely obliterated what Luffy thought was his crew. So Luffy went apeshit, no pun intended, and then he tries to fight Kaido. Of course, he's decimated, and that was a major shock because Luffy coming off of fighting Katakuri, we expected a better showing. Luffy got annihilated, and people went crazy. Chapter 923 of Luffy versus Kaido was one for the books. Number 9, I have Zoro gets Enma / his possible lineage. So in chapter 955, you find out more about Wado Ichimonji, who made him, Kozaburo, and of course Zoro gets Enma and cuts off a cliff of Wano, which was crazy, but this led to some more speculation. Could Zoro really be a Shimotsuki? What is Zoro's connection to them? We know Koshiro is his former sensei, Kurina's dad, and Kozaburo, he's the man who made Wado Ichimonji, and of course he made Enma, so that's why Zoro can use Enma so well, or it adds to it. But I think this is really hype and some hints in regards to Zoro's possible lineage, and then getting a sword like Enma, the sword that cut Kaido. Come on. Number 8, we have the Kaido and Big Mom alliance. This was in chapter 954, and this was a real surprise because for the longest, after Big Mom got to Wano, we expected a huge free-for-all, whereas the Big Mom Pirates versus the Alliance versus Kaido. And then it so happened Kaido and Big Mom, after fighting, they decide to ally. No one saw that coming, and that was a moment in which people felt like the war changed, and then it went from a little bit of hope to just complete despair. Number 7, we have the Denjiro reveal. Now, for a lot of people, we had been speculating for a long time who the heck was Denjiro. He was the last scabbard to be revealed, and many speculated that it could have been Kirishiro, but it was like, he doesn't look anything like him, or does he? And so the Denjiro reveal, I think, was an amazing time because it just showed everything Denjiro went through and how angry it was. And the Denjiro reveal was amazing just based off of how much it was discussed among the community. And then the anime had a moment where it kind of spoiled it, but we were like, no, the anime couldn't possibly know more than us. Right? The anime ended up spoiling and Denjiro ended up being Kirishiro. I absolutely love the transformation where pure rage led Denjiro to that point where his facial structure completely changed. Oda, how does that work? Please answer this in an SBS. Number 6, we had Luffy's speech, and this was a moment in which we felt like Luffy took a step forward as a character, in which some maturity played a part, where Luffy stepped in and hugged the people of Wano who had lost hope. They felt like it was no point going against Queen and Kaido because they'd been there for so long, they had essentially lost all hope. And Luffy gave a riveting speech which showed how much charisma Luffy had, and then he got injured and hurt in the process and did not care. He showed them he was willing to sacrifice his own body for their cause, and this was an amazing moment to read and react to and have everyone give their opinions on, because this felt like Luffy taking a step forward and not entrenching himself as a Yonko, but it felt appropriate, almost like a coming of age, and the people rallied around him, and that was an amazing thing to see. Number 5, we have Killer's reveal. Now, this was crazy, right? Because we'd speculated, my guy Gio, I always mention him every time I talk about this, he was the only one that I know of that called it perfectly and said, Kamazo is Killer. Now, this was a crazy reveal because it happened in chapter 944. We had Killer saying, yo, what made you like this? And all of a sudden he said, Killer. It was like, what? Killer is actually Kamazo? It was crazy because Kamazo and Zoro fought, and then to figure out everything that he went through for Kid, being force-fed to smile, being Orochi's dog, this was such an amazing setup and reveal. People lost their minds. Number 4, we have the Warlords abolished / Sabo being captured. Now, this was in chapter 956, and I didn't want to separate them because they were both hype, and again, this is not the best chapters of Wano because the entire chapters may not have been great, but they had great moments in them. And in chapter 956, a classic chapter. We will always always remember this chapter because this is when it was revealed that the world government, they have a new power, the SSG, and essentially that made the warlords, which consists of people like Mihawk, expendable. What the actual hell? And then we find out about Sabo and the fact that something happened to him at the Reverie. We don't know, but Ivankov was reacting, Makino was reacting, Dragon was sweaty. It was like, okay, so what has happened to Sabo? Bro, we still do not even know. But chapter 956 was a great precursor, and oh my gosh, that chapter was so amazing. Mihawk saying that it's been a long time since he's been chased. We seen Weevil, Buggy, and then Kobe headed to Boa Hancock. Oh my god. That chapter was bonkers. But again, those specific moments, I lost my shit. Number 3, Roger laughed / the Roger and Whitebeard clash. This happened in chapter 966 and 967, but here's the thing. I didn't want to pick between these two, and then also I felt like just reading those chapters or rereading those chapters, Roger and Whitebeard and Odin would have dominated this list. So I was like, okay, you know what? Let's pick 2 out of all these moments that we can talk about because that flashback had some great things with Roger and Whitebeard. And this is Oda showing us Roger's reaction to finding the One Piece. And then we saw Roger laughing with tears in his eyes in such an amazing image and chapter. It is so vivid in my mind remembering when I saw that page and panel for the first time. It was almost surreal. Like we're seeing the Pirate King react to him finding the One Piece. Where does it happen? And then in chapter 967, seeing the final clash of Roger and Whitebeard, seeing these two legends, arguably the 2 greatest pirates of all time, go at it. And of course they fought for 3 days, seeing their young crews. This was a moment in which while you're in the One Piece community, it felt like nothing could go wrong. This is over 900 chapters in, and then we're finally seeing the Pirate King and the Prime Whitebeard in action. We would have never thought we'd have seen that. And we saw that. Of course, we didn't see that much of it, right? But we saw that. Number 2, I have from chapter 971, the Hour of Legend. Of course, that bled over into chapter 972, but the Hour of Legend is one that initially it was disappointing because a lot of us, including myself, thought that the Hour of Legend was Kaido versus Odin, right? And it was like, okay, this was not even shown and it felt a bit underwhelming. We were so wrong because in chapter 971, what Odin did for his crew, his scabbards, his followers, listen, that was one of the most amazing showings by a character and an endurance feat in One Piece. Listen, Odin stood in a boiling pot of oil and held up his scabbards for an hour. He did that for his people for an hour. Do you understand how bonkers that is? Then even after that, he delivers a speech to Kaido to warn Kaido of what was to come. How can you not love that? The Hour of Legend will forever be etched in our minds because when you think of Odin and the sacrifices that he made for his country and in that particular instance for the people that he cared about and loved, it's unbelievable. Because when you think of a king, someone like Odin, the person who was supposed to be the shogun of Wano, you would think that these scabbards would stand below this thing and hold Odin up so that he could survive. He said, no, I'm going to be the one to do the dirty work. You guys survive, carry on my will, open the borders of Wano, fulfill the legacy, lead us to the dawn. How can you not love Odin, man? Number 1, you guys should have guessed it. We have the Yonko bounty / the rocks reveal in chapter 957. Holy shit. Listen, this chapter broke the community. Like I say that all the time, but legitimately, this chapter broke everything because we got the bounties of the Yonko and the greatest pirates of all time. And then we got the reveal of the Rocks pirates. Who the hell the Rocks pirates? Well, just only a pirate crew consisting of Rocks Zebek, who we had no idea who the hell he was, Whitebeard, Shiki, Big Mom, Kaido. What the actual fuck? One Piece chapter 957 will probably go down as one of the most hyped chapters, if not the most hyped chapter in One Piece history because of how much information we got. We got Garp talking about stuff, Sengoku talking about stuff, finding out that Garp teamed up with Roger to defeat Zebek, God Valley disappearing, Zebek's intentions, even information about the Yonko crews, finding out that Shanks has the most balanced crew. It was just a smorgasbord of information that made us lose our shit. When I think about the chapter now, and then I went back and reread it before this video, mind blown. It is still so fascinating and amazing to me that people exist on this earth that haven't experienced chapter 957. How can you exist? But yeah, those are my top moments in Wano so far. But quickly, what I think happens in chapter 1000? Well, guys, I don't know, right? And please, no spoilers. Please don't spoil. I said it earlier, but please don't spoil. I'm hoping Luffy reaches the top, and that's been sort of a countdown that Oda's been doing, where Luffy's been going from different floors every single chapter, seemingly. I was saying that I don't think Zoro reaches the top because for Zoro and direction, it always feels like Oda likes to play with that. So I think he gets close, but not necessarily to the top. I would like like a confrontation between Luffy, Kid Law. They all get to the top at the same time. Big Mom and Kaido, they arise, and then we go into a Rocks flashback, like a quick Rocks flashback or something, right? I want a moment to remember, a callback. It doesn't have to be something super hype, like a new devil fruit or finding out that Kaido poops. Nothing like that, right? I just want this to be memorable because, again, I've been telling people, chapter 1000 isn't exactly about the contents of the chapter. It's about everyone persevering and sticking through, because One Piece, it does have slow moments from time to time, but we have been here for over 900 chapters, and in a short while, we would have read 1,000 chapters of One Piece. And that, I think, is incredible in its own right, and that is what I think should be celebrated. The fact that we got to 1,000 chapters and not focus too much on what's going to happen in the chapter, even though that's interesting. Getting to 1,000 chapters, that's what's really important here, and we got to do this, you know, making so many friends, having so much discussion about this stuff. That's the great part, and that's what I'm looking forward to. So guys, give me your thoughts. List your 10 best moments of Wano. This is how we got here. Chapter 1000 will be incoming really soon. You like, you subscribe, you comment, all that helps me and it helps the channel so much, so please continue to do so. Guys, follow me on Twitter at BragoDAce, follow me on Instagram at Bragody.ace. Thank you to my patrons, I appreciate you guys so much. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.
I start doubting me, I felt lost.